Then third, cryptography. Now we go to the secure network. After that, we will go through. At the end, we come back to the response. So as I told you, throughout this syllabus, you will learn about the plan. After you know the plan, before you plan, you have to know about the environment. Then after that, you will know how to plan it. Okay. Then how to protect it based on your plan. Then after that, respond. Okay. Protect is, as I explained to you last week, we try to reduce the risk, but we cannot eliminate the risk. So that's why we have the response here. So what we will do or we have to do if anything happen, although we have do our protection. Okay. So again, cryptography, as you learned before, in the previous chapter, is about the provide the confidentiality throughout the encryption. Okay, authenticity throughout the hashing, correct? No? Throughout the hashing, throughout the digital signature, then we can provide the authenticity. Okay, and also as well as the key as well. Okay, and also the message integrity using the hashing. Okay, we do the comparison. Still remember the message digest, or we call it hash. Okay, we do the comparison. If identical, so that means the message is authentic. Okay, without any modifications. Okay, but modern network have additional vulnerabilities. So vulnerabilities, they came from the delivering the message could be stopped. So someone may stop your message during the transmission in your network. Okay, so or you can make it slow. So if slow, you know, right, in the network, if the packet sent from the sender to the receiver, if too slow, the packet will be dropped. Like when you're accessing, okay, when you're accessing the AirAsia website, while AirAsia making the motion. So you can see sometimes when you are unable to access to the web page. Why? Because the packet you send from your host actually been dropped after waiting for a long time. Or some message may be altered. Like man in the middle attack, they can alter your message, or they can relay your message to other party. Okay, and also the route. This one is from the message. Second is from the route. Route of the message could be altered. So the first maybe from A to B using this way, but unfortunately they redirect you or your message to the other place in order to get your confidential detail. Okay, so they will reroute the message. Okay, message could be redirected to the false recipients, and attacker could gain access to communication channel. They were previously considered closed or confidential, but after if you accidentally open, so the attacker can gain access to this communications channel. Okay, so our goal of creating the secure network actually first is availability. So I think you know what is the availability. That means when the user need the services, okay, provided from us, so our service is always there. Okay, our service is always be ready and let the user can access anytime they need it. So this is what our aim to create a secure network in order to achieve the availability. Okay, the second is the confidentiality. So as you know, confidentiality, that means we try to avoid or we try to prevent unauthorized user from getting the information while we are transmit the message either in the raw, either alter the message and so on. Then the third one is the functionality. Okay, functionality, that means we want to make sure the attacker cannot modify or change the capability of the normal operations. Like, okay, example, like when you try to access to a website, but you cannot, right? That means although they didn't change your message, they didn't modify your message, they didn't capture your data, but they make the normal operations cannot function normally. Okay, so cannot function normally. So what they need to, they can do is they, okay, example, deny DOS attack, deny of service attack. Okay, then the next one is the access control. So access control keep attacker or unauthorized employee from accessing internal resources. So before we allow others people to come to our network, okay, this chapter cover about the network. So before we allow other user come into our network, so we have to ask them to provide the credentials. We have to do the authentication first. Okay, so this is kind of the access control. Although, okay, like your FYP system. So why you have to do the password? Okay, login page. Because you implement the access control. You make sure those who want to access to your system need to have a correct password. And when they access to your system, then what kind of the function they can do in your system is based on their role. Let's say you develop a mentor-mentee system example. So the mentor has the different role or different function in your system compared to the student role. Okay, so this is the access control. Then after the access control, authorizations. So we have another one is authorizations. What they can do and what they cannot do. Like in the SMP, you can see what you see in the SMP actually is different like what I see. Okay, I'm the lecturer, so I can see the marks from the student, I can key in the marks and so on and so forth, but you can. Okay, so in future, we have to concern about the few things for while we are trying to securing the network. First is the attack vector. Okay, we need to concern about the attack vector, the ways, the channel, how the attacker or hacker attack to our network. Okay, because now we are most of the people. Okay, we have the smartphone. Okay, we not only have smartphone, we have a lot of the smart devices, a smartwatch and so on. So why we call it smart? Because they can connect to the internet, right? So when it's connected to the internet, that means it create another phone or create another vulnerability to the outsider. Okay, to your network. So we have to identify the attack vector, and also we know if we want to build out one of the customer there, actually the good guy inside. Yes, you are inside here, but the bad guys, that means the attacker are outside. So you have to control it. So this is a good thing, but it's very difficult for us to control this thing. Okay. So what the means of the perimeter? So actually this one is very impractical to force all the information to a single point network. Okay, so it's very difficult because okay, like a city, example in a city. So can you, okay, I give you an example like Surya Sabha. Okay, Surya Sabha. Now we have to follow the SOP. Can Surya Sabha just open the entrance? Okay, and make a good control over there for SOP in order to avoid any visitors from the back doors to go into the building. So it's very difficult. Okay, so in practical to post all the information to a single point in the network. Because why? Because like as I told you, we use the smartphone constantly, and also the line between the good and bad guys has become blurred. We don't know. We don't know that person is a good guy or bad guy. Same like the apartment or the condominium is a single point entry, right? So, but the security guard can see it's very difficult for them to differentiate the good guy and also the bad guy. As long as you know how to wet your head, then you can go home. Okay? So the city model, okay, as I explained to you, the example of Korea, so that means multiple ways of entering the network. So this is our current sensitivity. Okay. Any way to go to our network, to intrude to our network. So last chapter we have learned, okay, we have the weakest point, right? So if all the entrance you have a method of security protection except one. So the whole system will not affect. Okay, so we have to maybe we need some security mechanisms such as the internet intrusion detection, okay, the virtual LAN or central authentication server. So to make sure before they come into your network, the authentication can be done on the server side, but in the centralized because we have a lot of the entrance point to come to your network, but we cannot every single entrance point have the single server. The entrance B maybe don't have any state data, so we can easily to come in. Okay, if he has the he is the blacklisted person. Okay, so we also have to anchor our internet traffic. This is our traffic message. Okay, that's okay.
Okay, so I think your information and put something like that is
Yeah.
oh, okay, so cuma ada yang lain-lain macam lebih
Okay. So this was the DOS attack. What it means DOS denial of service attack. Denial of service attack, that means denial of service. You provide a service, but at the end, when the server requests your service, it has been denied. So that's why we call it denial of service. So that means an attack makes a server that unavailable to legitimate users. When your legitimate user, you have access to your network, but the network down. Okay, when the page down, the server down. So they cannot get the service while they need it. So this is the phenomenon denial of service attack. Okay, remember, this is just the example of what is not a denial of service attack. We only in the system of different. So it's not the denial of service, request that will smaller request. So the goal of the denial of service attack actually is to perform. So like loss related to the online sales, you let's say the Asia. Okay, let's say example Asia. So if somebody competitors and I like okay, my Asia business is very good. Okay, and then some competitors compete with this AA. So they might launch a service attack to make website is unavailable. Not only nearby, but for those who what the get of PGE. So maybe you want to change the get, maybe you want to check the get and so on, or bring out the yeah, but you can access the website. So it's observe what you think. You are think, oh, it's very difficult. Every other access. In that I want to mention that you can develop and so on. So at the end, we will move to Lazada and AI. Okay, so from that side, those are related to price. Then there is industrial registration also. Okay, like example. So like just now they said for AA, so the okay, that's the big cost. Everyone know the problem of the website. I want to choose the ticket. I want to tell them the website. So at the end, the registration go down. Okay, everybody productivity and also customer others. Okay. So the primary means of outsourcing via the loss and data stopping service. Yes. So the first step actually the main is stopping the critical services. So they try to stop critical services when you really need it. The user really needs the service. When they request it, they cannot get it. So the user will get it and move from the service. And another one, they cannot stop. They will try to slowly gradually the service. Okay, make the service very low. Very much try to request. Maybe you cannot get. Maybe you cannot have to work long time. Okay, this is the main purpose for the thing. Okay, so basically we have two types of one is direct, the one is indirect. So the direct those is try to work. Okay, what they think, in directly from the so from the direct business especially a lot of the package to okay, mandatory channel. Okay, channel to rock to the receiver website or the victim website. Okay, so in the limit user wants to they right? Because a lot of the package from the attacker already but the other channel, so they have to edit. What is no package? The time they give. Okay, when the time up, okay, they just use them. If they cannot solve, then you have to go. Like you access to the sometimes when you package the packet the server, but the server can be down and then cannot enter the packet with the Microsoft. So they don't have to do. Okay, this one is the call from the attacker directly okay, so the direct exhaust then the attacker will use the IP address, the IP address. Okay, then they will use the IP address to attack the not located, but other computer then from other computer to it. So you can see the let's say this one is the attacker. Okay, actually this one is the victim. If direct, they will directly send them here. This one is direct. If direct, they have the third party. Okay, then they have the third party. This one is the computer here. So they will send this to here, then to do the box to attack. This is the then they say the source address. The source address actually is on B. Okay, so this is the IP. Although done by the attacker, but the source IP address actually is DE. So when both receive the DE, the message attacker DE definitely they will get the source, right? So they try to be. So the channel to be already with the packet. So let's say the legitimate user will your packet here. The legitimate user, the packet here. When you here, you to bring into this CC. But after that, how is also will be load now the file. Okay, so this is the purpose of the overall DOS attack. Okay, so the first thing you can see is in okay, this is the IRS. You can see the attacker has set the continuous CC address. Since one this is also sent as this is the kitchen. Okay, so the source IP address sorry, indirect. So you can see the source IP address is this one. So when this packet sends this one, so as I told you, the network directory is where the handset, right? See? After that, so after that, right? So when someone access the CC, so by using this IP address, so this computer will verify the CCNA. So we will try to respond on the IP address. So the IP address is equal to this one. So this computer will send back message CCNA to this one. Okay, so the data we can from the source here. Yeah. Then this one is the indirect. This one is indirect. Okay, so direct and indirect attack can cause the number back from one to address. You can see. So let's go to address. Let's go to address. So let's address. Okay, modify types of packet can be sent. The CC or the attacker send CC segment or okay, application can send the CC. Okay, they will send back to so they can get the response result. Okay, so in this case, when they see this one price right, but as I told you, after this replay, CC then after that they say information. So when this one right the CC, so this guy actually waiting for what? Waiting the right? But actually the when was by CC. So again, this is where they come the kitchen. Okay, so the use run out of the resources flash and can remove those resources this element. Sure. Okay, so here you can see multiple types of the packet exist like the C, the SMB, and so on. So like CC, the function, so this is like very packet. The C is just one. C is and okay. This is in egg. ICMP is if you give the notification or handle the error. Okay. Send the error notification. So by for use the error. So this ICMP is very important. Okay, so you have HTTP. Okay. So we go to the direct, indirect, then we also have the intermediary attack. Intermediary attack actually some computer host intermediate device, okay, and the teaching. Okay, so in this case, they will use the master to control the bot. Okay, so what? So the handler. So what is the bot? What is the particular bot program? So when bot master gives the command to the bot will start that and the teaching. So that handler can update the software which can the bot can do. Okay, we can see the example here. Okay, this one is the system. Okay, which can update the bot. So you can see the tracer is here. So the bot is here. Okay, the bot is a program. Okay, it's a program that already been installed to this web access. So this program, they will not want the MNA to anyone unless they will receive command from this attacker. So after the attacker sends a command to this bot, of course, the attacker must first go to this device and maybe this other direct remote access control. Okay, so they can install the direct this program and then they try to manipulate this computer from the bot. Okay, then after they attacker send the command to the bot in order to let the bot do the job. Then the bot will start to send the alphabet package ICMP to the business. Okay, so in this case, you can see the attacker actually doesn't directly attack the victim, but they are using bot as a terminal device to attack the victim. Okay. So another one is the handler. Okay, the difference between this one and the handler is the attacker. They just access the command. Okay, access the command to handler. So this handler will send the another command. Okay, to the bot. So they will use the here using the handler. Why the attacker want to do this? Can somebody tell me why the attacker need handler? This was why. Can someone tell me why the attacker need handler? Okay. The reason behind why the attacker need the handler first is easier for the attacker to handle. Okay, then the handler will know the what. Then if this victim can take the packet from the who, they will take this one. Maybe this one. This is also this. Okay, this is everything with this one. Then if this one, they just out. So the more layer here, the more access for the attacker. So it's very difficult to translate the real attacker. Okay, I give you an example, right? If you want to attack your neighbor, they give you first to try to control another species. So you make the species control another species. Then in Indonesia, the ability of the disease in Indonesia start to attack your neighbor species. So actually, your target just the but your neighbor don't know actually we are the really attacker. They just smiling to the movie. Okay? So if the target is on the neighbor is there, want to translate back, the attacker, they can translate back first maybe go to the takes you. Okay, but it takes a very difficult process of respect. Not easy for us to respect. Okay. So we also have the here. We direct those thinking. Okay, and many of us overlook that because they develop common perfectly. So after they we did easy perfectly. So after that they can realize that this is perfectly media website. Okay, you can go here. It's like so for example. Okay, this is the example. So when it takes a send video. Okay, they send a lot. Okay, send a lot. Okay, yeah. So the channel and here. So when this doesn't come, this doesn't come here. So it will direct. Okay, and direct the packet sent by Google to his website. Okay, maybe make that quite serious. System also, but that's the user. So they just direct it here. So this is all here. Direct those. Okay. So this is example. Okay. So this is it. If the normal, the server will serve the host, right? Okay. Then the server will serve the host. But after that, it will send the command. Okay. Then the send the command. Like in the whatever. So this is possible. We will not send the PTP, but we write the message to the PTP. So because why all these they are thinking they can right? Actually, this send by so they will reply to this is PTP. So again, they will take the change go around. This is let's say that real user is the real user send the packet here. Okay, then you can go back here. Again. Okay. So here we redirect. Okay. So we proceed to next. Just know is redirect. Now we put the okay. We prepare that also and change the response so makes it to your so like this distributor we prepare that also distributor we prepare that more for the internet so ICP request incorrect of the router will make those expected in order to broadcast to the so usually in this breaker, those okay, the common scenario is the attacker will send the photo. Okay, the server request the existing server. Okay, this request yang intinya ada the server then the server then kemudian so this is IP actually was the it's example redirection so when this example attacker represented the server DNS domain okay so here the attacker when they send the packet they will example, every time you hear about the stranger, how you so at the end, you think this was maybe maybe someone how you can emergency and help. What why you just got to do what you just got to do just a stranger and you can tell me if you are listening and will be really just you can say that you're changing your set but they just unknown number because why? Because let's say they don't believe the book will block the attacker is okay, there is the internet message the EM, so DG, and so on. Okay, so what the attacker can come in. Okay, so the attacker, so when they come here, so they can kill up here, they can block your stuff. Okay, they must block it before sending the company. So ISP. But before you go any internet website and all, the ISP is provide this is the okay. Then they will either block it or pass it. Okay. So from there, the ISP can carry the logo and get the can come the attacker. Okay, come from the attacker. But the problem is, if let's say someone that attack, someone that attack comes in the ISP, they come here, you have the so this is the this is more company, this is corporate side, okay, website, and also outside, side, so you have the back end. Okay, then at the home. Okay, so you provide it. Okay, then so you provide it from outside the company. But when you don't get it, so somebody didn't make can come. So it's a concept. Okay, so we have to design and we have to do. So you have to know actually the overall necessity where we might have that. So we will help the mechanism. Okay. So for class, it's okay. So I consider another hierarchy. Okay, what is the hierarchy? Is the solution protocol. So this is the solution protocol. Actually, don't like addresses. They will make the MAC addresses. I think you know what is the MAC address, right? The address is the device address. Okay. You use the MAC addresses and local MAC addresses. So you use this new have the local network. Okay, like the LAN and so on. Okay, so the host will be the resources that may be available here. So I have for the IP address, this IP address, they will link that to this physical address, the MAC address, Okay, so the normal ARP, the function ARP address and solution protocol. Okay, that's why we need the MAC addresses. So the same network, same network was right. Okay, same network must know other MAC addresses. So this is PCC. So they must know other MAC addresses or the other each other. So that's why they have the table. They can tell us the effective system. I think so the normal structure gateway. So like that gateway. Okay. So this one the gateway says ARP request. Okay. To load the host. Okay. This is the host. Host B. So this one is the network. So we have the switch. So the request to the host. A host B in order to get one get the address. So they will put inside the ARP table. So you can see in the switching, in the switch, they also have the table, switch table for the port and also this one, MAC address. Okay. So this one is the in a normal ARP traffic. Okay, they will keep in order to create the ARP table. Okay, so normally an attacker on the same network cannot see traffic between two hosts. Okay, if the traffic between these two hosts, they cannot see it. Okay, so why? Because the switch only forward the traffic to the intended switch will based on the station, the MAC address, send the traffic to the host, to their particular host. Okay, so remember each host can make an ARP request and it has an ARP table. As I told you, there's an ARP table here, ARP table here. Okay, so from here you can, I think you can guess about what happened in the ARP poisoning. Or poisoning, that means they change it. Okay, the network attack that might manipulate the host ARP table to reroute. They change the IP address that map to the different MAC address. Poisoning. Okay, then they can reroute for a main intermediate attack, continuous stream of spoof ARP replies. Okay, first ARP reply redirect the traffic and gateway and host are poisoned. Okay, so the problem here, why this thing happen? Because as I told you, this one is in a LAN. In a LAN, that means in the same network. Same network, usually we didn't go through the authentication. So this one is the main problem. Why ARP request and reply do not request authentication or verification. So because of this, they come out with the poisoning. Because no any further authentication and verifications when all the hosts in the same network. So in the same network, all the hosts trust all ARP replies. When you request, someone reply, yes, you trust it. Okay, so like in the same room, but you close your eyes, you cannot see anybody, but you know your housemate is around. Okay, you assume then you know their name, so you just talk to them, then they reply to you, but you close your eyes. Okay, then you didn't do any authentication. That actually that one is the voice actually come from your housemate. Your housemate. We don't know. Okay, so ARP spoofing use the post ARP reply to map any IP address to any MAC address. So of course, an attacker can manipulate the ARP tables. Then the attacker must send a continuous stream of unoscillated ARP reply. Okay, so this one is an ARP attack. So the DOS attack, you can see the attacker send all the internal host a continuous stream of unsolicited spoof ARP reply saying that the gateway is this one and this one. Then host will report the gateway, the MAC address. So this one is the ARP DOS, DOS attack, ARP DOS attack. So the switch will receive from the internal host address, this one, but cannot deliver because actually the host does not exist. So the packet will be dropped. So you can see this. Okay. So the attacker is just now the attacker will go to send to the gateway. Okay. The attacker will send to all the gateway IP address to all the internal hosts to say this one is the gateway IP address and also the MAC address. But this one, okay, the attacker will send this one to tell all the hosts here that the gateway IP address is this one, so the gateway is okay. But the the MAC address is the E5555. Okay, so when the host want to send the packet to this switch, right? When they send to the switch here, then this switch will based on the switch table to send out to pass to other hosts, right? But when they send it to the gateway E5, they cannot find it in the table. So the E5 actually does not exist. So the E5 does not exist. So what can they do? So at the end, the packet will be dropped. So that means whatever the host here, they request the service from the gateway. Okay, this gateway actually is a router. So if go to the another website, another site here, so they have to go through the router. That's right. So when they want to pass through it, but E5 is not it. So their packet will be dropped. So this one is the drop attack, particularly in the address solution. Host table, we change the information to the table. Plus, okay. Banyak kena saja. Okay. Well, the next one is ARP man in the middle. Okay, man in the middle. So that means this attacker is the same thing. Okay, this attacker will manipulate, as I told you, they will manipulate the host A to host C. But in the same time, they will send the packet to the gateway. They will send the packet to the gateway. So to let the packet, to let the gateway busy entertain this packet. Okay, to entertain this packet. Then in the same time, this attacker will redirect this one. All the packet from the host A, host B, host C, out to this place. Why? Because you can see the attacker send the IP packet to this IP and this before, right? This belong to gateway. So they will send a lot to make the gateway busy to entertain this packet. Then in the same time, this attacker will send the packet to all outside the host here to tell them the IP address 10.0.0.4 actually belong to gateway and the MAC address actually is a C3. So that's why you can see this one C3 belong to attacker. So when the host, any host, they want to send the packet, they want to send the packet to the gateway, okay, then to this switch will go through this table to see this one actually belong to C3. So the packet will pass here. So this one is the main input. That means here we make this guy busy. In the same time, whatever the message supposedly come to here, they can hear. So because this one is busy to entertain this one, no time to entertain you, then whenever you send a packet, will direct this time. Then this is the main interpreter. Okay. So how we go to prevent? Okay. How we go to prevent the ARP poisoning? So first we can use the static table. It means no any changes of the tables. So because organization is too large, okay, change too quickly. So of course it's very difficult. You want to manage the static IP and ARP tables. So that's why you can see in your computer you use the dynamic IP, right? You then use the static IP. But if you are using the static IP, that is very good. It is very good because okay, you can use this permanent or static IP to prove that your identity. But the problem is, if let's say can you imagine a big company, it's very difficult. If you have 1,000 or more than 1,000 PC or IP address, you have to take note of every single one, or you have to configure every single one. So static table actually is good, can prevent, but the problem is very difficult to handle. Okay, especially for those who lack of the experience. Okay, to assign the static IP to the host. Okay, and second, another method is limit the local access. Okay, the limit the local access, that means the foreign host must keep off the LAN. So the LAN, since it's the LAN, it means it's your network, like your house. In your house, so you have the your internet, right? So your computer, your phone, your parents' computer, all you all are in a network. So you will avoid, or you have to block outsider to come here. That means the foreign host come into your LAN network. Okay. So we have the access control for the network. So like this one is a corporate network. Okay, corporate LAN. So you have the Ethernet. Okay, Ethernet. Then we have the Ethernet here, the switch. So you can see we have the server. This server can be accessed by this host, either the wired or wireless client. So if the wired, they have the cable, right? Okay, they have a cable. So go to the switch, then switch can connect to the server. There's no problem. Okay, but some of the wireless client, they have to use the radio transmission signal. We always call the signal to access the AP, access point. Okay, once connect to the access point will connect to the switch. Okay, this one is use the signal, but this one is use the cable. Okay, so the access point will connect to the switch, then in order for you to access to the server. Okay, so you can see a lot of the overall, okay, the overall Ethernet or the LAN is like this. So of course the threats is over there. The attacker can connect to the Ethernet, switch or access point. By passing the site firewall, can intercept or read the wireless transmission. Okay, so this is common, just the normal LAN network or corporate network. So we have the internet, so either the wired or the Wi-Fi or wireless connection. Okay, so we proceed to the Ethernet. So in this Ethernet, so the first you need to know is the standard. Okay, the standard family 802.1x. 1x can be 1.1, can be FY 802.1 and so on. So you can check from the internet. That's why you can see always the standard. Okay. Okay, they provide the access control to prevent the illegitimate, okay, illegitimate client from associating with a network. That means connect to a network. Okay, so of course, as a supplicant, so you know what is supplicant, right? You have to provide the credential. When you try, let's say you use the cable to connect to the WAJAC. WAJAC that means the internet port. Like you, if you are stay in the apartment or condominium, they already stand by a port, right? So you just plug in, then you will get an internet connection. Okay, with the WhatsApp. So you connect to the WhatsApp. So this WhatsApp, at the end, behind the WhatsApp, actually they will connect to the switch. So actually the switch have to act as a authenticator. Okay, have to authenticate the supplicant. Okay, before let the supplicant go to the network. So usually the switch here, they will connect to another authentication server. We call it the radius. Okay, what you mean radius? Radius actually is the remote authentication dial-up server, service. Okay, remote authentications, remote authentication dial-up service. Okay, so this authentication server actually is centralized server, so they will authenticate first whatever the credentials provided by this supplicant. If okay, then they just give the green light to let the supplicant access or enter to the network. Okay, so the first they can use the radius. Okay, another type is they can use another. Okay, this radius actually is kind of the protocol as well. Huh? Okay, the authentication protocol. So another one is the extensible authentication protocol. So extensible EAP. So this EAP, they are using the EAP here. Okay, extensible authentication protocol. So you can see from the same concept here. Instead of using the radius, now they are using the EAP. Okay. So this EAP, they will EAP start, then EAP request us the credential, either smart card credential or what. So they will send the response. So if the negative, sorry. Sorry, okay. If the EAP, they can, okay, let's say this applicant send the negative acknowledgement. So this EAP, okay, or central authentication server, they will send another request, ask for the MS-CHAP credential. I hope you still remember this process, MS-CHAP, that we covered in the previous chapter. So they will reply or respond as a correct credential, then success, then just can let them in. Class, okay, can you hear me and can you see the screen?
Can, sir.
Sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. Can.
Yes, okay, can I proceed?
All right.
Okay, so maybe you will ask, what's the difference between the radius and also the EAP, extensible authentication protocol? So the EAP, actually, if you want to use for the authentication, okay, authentications, so you can use the EAP, okay, but usually radius will provide these three things: authentication, authorizations, and auditing. Auditing, that means they will record what the user has been done. Okay, like logbook. Okay, the log or audit. Then authorizations, that means they can based on the role they authorize it. Okay, your authority, what you can do. Like example I gave to you just now about the mentor and mentee. Okay, like the another example in the SMP. What you view, what you can do in the SMP totally different than what I can do in the SMP as a lecturer. Okay, so it's better that we can combine. Okay, we can combine it. You can see from the previous this one, the figure here. Okay, so we can combine. Okay, to use this one. So from here, from the central authentication server here, so to the switch here, so we can use the EAP over the radius. Okay, EAP. So if after they can easily, okay, after they can easily to what to say, been authenticate. So from here you can just use the EAP message because this one is the first thing. So we have to limit. So no automatic key management for the radius. So what we need to do is we have to use the EAP message encapsulated in the radius message. Okay, to say here. So we have the EAP over radius here. We have the EAP over LAN here. This is the LAN, right? Okay, because this one is the authenticator. So this one is the radius server. So we have the EAP message encapsulated in the net frame. Okay, this was an EAP message on the to the radius. Okay, then from here you can see why we use the centralized authentication server. Okay, I think I have explained to you just now. First is the cost saving. You can imagine if you don't have the centralized authentication server here, you have a lot of the entrance here. So you have another authenticator, you have another authentication, then connect to another one. Okay, so these three things actually control the same for the same building. Okay, so that means if you don't have the centralized, you have to spend more than one. Okay, so that's why from the cost saving, consistency, that means if A cannot come in here, so they block here, but maybe you don't have the data here, so A when they come here, so maybe will go in, so that means your security is totally gone. So if centralized, so that means we can make it consistency. Like your FYP as well. Your database, when you design the table, you have to make it centralized. Okay? Like the student, I said, like the student data, you have the student table. So whatever related the data you want to let the user view from your website, from your system, you have to retrieve from this student table. It is not from other table. Okay? So if you have the student table, you have the subject registered student table. So that one is difficult. Maybe you change the subject student table. The metric number is different with the real metric number in the student table. So the consistency is there. So when you create a database or whatever, you have to concern about the consistency and also the immediate changes. Once you change, so any update in this centralized server, so done. If not, you have to update this one, you have to update this one, you have to update this one. So you have to update certain part. Okay, but In the same time, if the time you update it, okay, today I update these two, so we still have two, we didn't update it. Maybe tomorrow. So between today and tomorrow, 24 hours, so maybe the attacker will take this opportunity to go through this one and come to your network. So if centralized, so that means can handle the immediate changes. Ya, ada apa? Lo? Ada soalan ni?
Sorry, sir.
Hmm?
Sorry, sir.
Okay, okay. Oh. So can I continue to the last part? Last part. Dengan last tu sama happy dah. Okay.
Boleh.
Last, wireless security. Okay. Wireless security. First, open network. Open network senang. Okay. Open network, that means the network can be accessed by anyone. Okay. Like the public cafe. Okay. Coffee shop, universities, and so on. Okay. This is a open network. So you have to think you are in the open network or private network or secure network or whatever network. So you have to know your situation first. Then you know the vulnerability there, the risk there. Okay, then the threat might happen to you. Okay, then private network. What that means a private network, they did not allow access unless specifically authorized. Except I will give you the password to access. If not, you cannot access to my network. This one is a private network. Okay, so the secure network, they have a security protocol enabled. So usually the user are authenticated and wireless traffic is encrypted. Okay, first is authenticated first. So if you are the real user, you have the credential, you can join the network, and whatever you send actually is encrypted. Okay, so if you can see, this one is a wireless network access, is normal wireless network access. So you have the internet here, so the client, then either the client use the wired, okay, or the wireless client, they using the signal, right, to connect to the AP, access point. Okay, to connect to the access point, okay, then connect to the switch and go out to the internet or whatever. So when they connect to the access point, actually they are follow the standard. Just now the standard IEEE 802.11. Okay, they follow this standard. This one actually is a working group. 802.11 working group. They work under IEEE to investigate or to do the research on this part, the Wi-Fi. Okay, so the AP, the access point actually, they act as a relay point. Why relay point? They will pass relay the point between the Wi-Fi, wireless to wired. This one is wired. Okay, so that's why you can see when you set up a network at home, right? So you put a router, okay? You put a router, your access point, then behind the router you have a cable, you connect to the wall, right? The wall jack. Okay, actually this wall jack actually connect to the switch and so on. Okay, this is a wireless network. Okay, so actually you know about the open network, actually you can legally access by anyone, secure network. Then we also have a raw access point. Raw access point, that means unauthorized access point set up with little or no security. This one actually is very dangerous. So this access point is very dangerous because no or little security. That means easily for you to connect to this access point. When you connect to this kind of the access point, we call it raw. So you will think you are secure. But unfortunately, because it's easily to connect, then you think, oh, you can use the free internet. But maybe your data will be captured. Whatever traffic you send out will be intercepted at the route. Okay, so they usually will use the sniffing technique or to do or to capture or to sniff your packet. Okay, we call it packet sniffer. Can be used to gather the network information or user data if you connect to the risk or access point. Okay, so beside that, we also have to concern about the radio frequency monitoring. So they will monitor the radio frequency. So how they monitor it? They can use the software to know the frequency. So from the frequency, if the frequency the same frequency, so they can capture the what I call it, they can capture the data, the packet. Like in the radio, right? You can see when you want to listen to the hit FM, you want to listen to the era, you have to adjust, right? In order to get the frequency. Same frequency, let's say example, 98.8 or 100.8, whatever. Okay, so when you adjust it, when you reach or hit this kind of the frequency, so you can accept, you can hear the radio, you can hear the song from the His FM and so on. But if you adjust other frequency, you will maybe you will same frequency with another radio. Fair enough. So this one is we call it the radio frequency monitoring. So if we did using this kind of the monitoring, they can pick up your wireless packet as well. Okay. Then another possible thing is the proximicus mode. So allow you to receive message addressed to other user. Okay. So this was an example for the unauthorized wireless wireless access. Okay. So let's say this one is a corporate site. This one is corporate site. Okay. So this corporate site, what they need to do is, so this attacker, okay, this attacker will come out with this one. Let's say your company have a route access point, or the attacker will go through this route access point. What is a route access point? As I told you, actually it's a no security or less or limited security access point. So they will come out to this route access point in order to get into your corporate network. So of course, when the attacker can access or connect to this route access point, in order to go to your corporate site network, they can do a lot of things. They can steal the data, can launch the external attack, as well as they can put something inside this host, then to become a bot later on, maybe. We don't know. Okay? So we have another one. Maybe the attacker will come out with the evil twin access point. Okay, they will come out with this access point. Okay, we call it the evil access point. This evil access point, they will come out with the access point with the very strong signal, very strong signal. When the client, okay, when the client they try to connect to the what you call it, connect to the AP, the real AP, they will always connect to this attacker AP first. They will always connect to attacker AP. So in this time, the attacker, okay, the attacker AP will read through the message first before they pass it to the real AP and so on. Okay, that means they will capture the thing first. Okay, of course, this evil twin AP or access point, so must have a strong signal compared to the normal access point. Okay, So another one is the man in the middle attack. Okay, man in the middle attack. So that means the attacker maybe, okay, from the legitimate access point. After this one, they can set another mirror twin access point. Okay, whatever from the server send out to you. So maybe we'll go through this one first. Same to from your side. If you are a client, you want to send something to the server, you want to connect it, so you have to pass through this river access point. Okay. So we have another one is the this associations and jamming. This association and jamming, that means this connect. Okay, to make you can unable to connect it. Okay, unable to connect it. So the first, the attacker will float the entire frequency. They will come out with the signal to make the noise. Okay, they make the noise so that we call it like the frequency interference. Okay, radio in frequency interference. Okay, so here the attacker will put the IP, AP, the what you call it, the access point with too many packets. So too many packets connected here. So this one busy. So busy. So they will they cannot entertain this wireless client. Okay, they cannot entertain this wireless client. So that means attacker actually is already disassociated to all internal wireless client. Okay, so this wireless client cannot connect to their access point. Okay, in order to get the network. Okay, so because of this, as I explained to you just now, this one is using 802.11. So that's why there are problems like this. So this group they enhance the standard to become a 802.11i. Okay, they already upgrade it with I. So when they upgrade it with I, they will protect with the okay, they will protect with a EAP. Okay, so when the wireless client supplicant, so then when they connect to this AP, they will go through the 802.11i standard. Okay, standard. So to protect, okay, to protect the message to be intercepted. Okay, so same to the wire client. Wire client, they still using the 802.1x. Okay, with Ethernet switch, then with the cable. Okay, access link here. Okay, so from here you can see who this outer authentication. That means from the corporate. Okay, go out. We call it outer or inner. Okay, from the outer, the access point use the SSL. SSL, TLS. I think previous chapter we have covered this one. They will cover this channel. Okay, SSL, TLS to authenticate this guy. Okay, using what? Using the digital signature that you have learned in the previous chapter. Then for the internal authentications, so this wireless client, they have to, before they connect to this one, before they use the SSL TLS, right? Initiated by this wireless client, so they have to use the EAP. Okay, to do to provide their credential for the authentication purpose. Okay, so we also have the extended EAP standard, like this one, EAP and TLS, and EAP to protect the network. Okay, so you can see here we have the 802.11 core security protocol. Okay, security protocol here. So when they wireless, they try to connect here, they will go through the using this standard 802.11i. So either using the WPA or WPP. Okay, the previous one is a sorry, the previous one we use the WPA or WEP. Then under this 802.11 standard, okay, to access to the access point. Then once you have the secure connection here, so we have no protection between the access point to the server. Okay. So we have the WEP. When you connect to the Wi-Fi, either your computer or your handphone, you can go to check it. You have using the WEP or WPA. Okay, WEP actually is the core security in the standard 802.11. Okay, they are using the share key. Okay, share key, that means they will use the same key for all the access points. Each station use the access key, use the same key for the access point. So the key actually is the secret, right? Okay. But the problem of the share key, okay, the problem of the share key is if share key is learned and attacker near to the access point can read all the share key. Like in the McDonald's, in the restaurant, okay, if let's say they are using this WEP, okay, using the share key, so they give you the password to access to the access point. So next customer, when they come, they also using the same key to the access point. So that means the next customer maybe is an attacker. So when they join the network, in the same time you also join the network because you are using the same key for this network. So basically you are using in the same network, so they can intercept. They can start to do something illegal. Okay, so again, please try to avoid to use or to log into your banking account online in the public network, like in the McDonald's, KFC, or any restaurant, okay, outside the day. Okay, if you want to make the transfer, please use your own data or use your handphone or wherever you can make it, just do it. Please don't do it in a McD or McDonald's or whatever, McD or KFC. Okay, so the good thing, this was a limitation of the share key. So the good thing for the share key, that means if you want to use the share key, you have to change it quickly. But actually it's very difficult because WEP, they don't have the automatic, okay, rekeying. So that's why you have to auto manual to generate a key. Then once you have the new key, you have to pass to other people. You have to pass to other people and so on and so on. So actually it's quite expensive for the big company. For the McDonald's, you just put a new key. Every day you have a new key. Every day you have a new key. Okay? So that's why, because they have the problem of the share key, so they all, because the share key, when the user share key, that means they're using the symmetric key encryption. Okay, one of the symmetric key encryption is RC4. I think I have introduced to you, but we didn't go through in detail about the RC4. So if you go through the process in the RC4, they are using the share key. So they are using the share key for the RC4 because if you are using the symmetric encryption, so you can do it fast and cheap encryption. But because of the things, so they have enhanced the WEP to encrypt per frame of key with the IV. Okay, not only the share key, but with the initialization protector. So in the RC4 process, please, if you have time, you go to look at the process in detail about the RC4. You will see the IV, how the IV play the important rules here. Okay, so previously, if we are using the WEP RC4, so they are using the 24 bit only. Okay, but after that they upgrade. Okay, after that they upgrade with the IV and upgrade to the 48 bits. So we also no longer using the WEP, but we're using the WPA. So if you go to the setup there, you can see we have two. First is WEP, second is the WPA. Okay, so what is the WPA? Actually, it's a Wi-Fi protected access. Wi-Fi protected access. Okay, what is the WEP? WEP, that means is the wired equivalent privacy. So wired equivalent privacy, that means when you're wireless, you're using the WEP, actually is you try to make it have a same privacy like the wired situation. Okay, WEP. But this WEP using only 24 bit. Then after that, upgrade, use the WPA. Recently, we all use the WPA 1, 2, or even 3. WPA, we call it Wi-Fi protected access. Okay, so the conclusion for the corporate is should not use the WEP for the security. Okay, as you know, WEP using the share key and also using the only 24 bits, actually is not so secure. But with the WPA, they are using the RC4 with the 48 bit share key as well. Share key, but 48 bit initializations vector inside the key. Okay. So this is a Wi-Fi alliance. Okay, so there's a Wi-Fi protected access, as I told you just now. So actually it's the extend the security of RC4. Primary increase from 24 bit to 48. Okay, to make the RC4 much harder to crack. Okay, that's why from the IV initializations vector from 24 up to 48. Okay, in the Wi-Fi protected access. Okay, then we have the WPA2, WPA3. Okay, so if you go to check your Mac Wi-Fi wireless router or your handphone, you will see WEP, WPA. So please, if you still see WEP, that means it's not so secure. So maybe you can start to move to the WPA. Okay, so this is just the comparison. Although they both of them are in the F02.11. Okay, standard. So the comparison between the WEP, WPA, and also the WPA2. This was a high here. Okay, so previously they are using the symmetric RC4 implementations. Then WPA, as you know, using this 48, this was 24. Then if WPA2 is more secure using the AES. AES, you can see 128 bit compared to this one, 48. So for the automatic rekeying, WEP, as I explained to you just now, none. But WPA, yes, they are using the temporal integrity protocol. Then this one WPA actually is more secure. Yes. Then overall the cryptographic strength, actually this one is better. Okay, so how about the operates in 802.1x mod? The WPA, no, this one okay. then operate in the pre-share key personal mode. What is the pre-share key personal mode? So that means they will share the key. Later I will explain to you what is the pre-share key or personal mode. Then WPA and WPA210, WPP. Okay, what the means of the pre-share key? PSK, or we call it personal mode for this one. So that means at the first time, okay, the access point and this all the host, they already have the share key. So that means this host and this host, all they have the share key that share with the access point. So in the first time, when they can provide this share key to the access point, then the access point can authenticate that the host is the real host, right? Then access point will come up with another one we call session key to anyone. If let's say this computer just now they request access to some